During break, I was catching up on sleep when the boy I'd known my whole life leaned over with an English test, asking me to walk him through the problems. I forced myself awake and took the paper. I'd barely started explaining when he burst out laughing, staring right at me. "Dude, you need to shave. For a girl, your upper lip hair's so dark and thick it's almost as bad as mine. You got way too much testosterone or something?" Amid the roar of laughter around us, I shook with rage and slapped him across the face without hesitation. Screw childhood best friends. He'd never learned to respect me, never knew when to keep his mouth shut. Fine by me. He could cease to exist in my world from now on. Chill out, Lila. I'll grab my razor from the dorm at lunch, lend it to you. A couple swipes and it'll be gone, promise. Jake Carter clapped me on the shoulder, tone light and amused, completely oblivious to the frost settling over my face. The other kids were already cackling, pointing and whispering about me. Especially Stella Pierce, who sat right in front of me. She turned around, scanned my face, and feigned surprise. Oh my gosh, that's so true. I always wondered why Lila Hayes's mouth area looked dark all the time. I thought she just never wiped her face properly after eating. Then she grabbed Jake's arm anxiously, shaking it a little. "Jake, come on, check for me. I don't have lip hair too, do I? That'd be so gross, I'd die." Jake bent down, leaning in close to Stella's face to study it carefully, his eyes lighting up with obvious admiration. "Not a single hair. Your skin's so clear and smooth. How do you even keep it that way?" Stella's lips curled into a smug little smile. "It's just natural good looks, duh. Ask my roommates if you don't believe me. I barely use any skincare, half the time I'm too lazy to even wash my face." As she spoke, she shot me a sideways glance. "Don't just talk to me, Jake. Your childhood bestie doesn't look too happy. I think you made her mad." At that, Jake immediately turned his gaze to me. "Come on, Lila, you mad?" "Ah, come on, I was just messing around. Don't be so sensitive about it." Before he could finish, I crumpled the English test into a ball and hurled it right at his face. "Who do you think you are, judging me like that? Get lost." Jake blinked in shock. "Whoa, is that really necessary?" "Yeah, Jake just says whatever's on his mind, he doesn't mean anything by it," Stella chimed in, wrapping an arm around me in a fake, friendly gesture, putting on her best peacemaker smile. "Come on, Layla, don't be mad." I scowled and shook her off. "Shut up. All you do is act all cutesy around guys and tear other girls down to make yourself look better. Is that all you're good for? Try that crap on me again, and you'll regret it." Stella clearly hadn't expected the usually easygoing me to snap like that. Her face flushed bright red. She stammered for a minute without getting a full sentence out, then her lip trembled and she started sniffling, looking up at Jake with big, teary eyes. Same old act. I was fed up, and I didn't hold back. "You what? You're such a pick-me, queen of female rivalry. Do you have any idea how insufferable you are?" Stella cried harder. Jake hated seeing her cry. He rounded on me instantly, voice raised in anger. "Lila, what the hell is your problem? Why are you being so aggressive? Stella was just trying to be nice, and you're throwing around all that garbage? Real mature." I didn't bother arguing. I stood up, ready to head to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face and clear my head. But he reached out and blocked my path. "Apologize. You say sorry to Stella right now, or this isn't over." The whispers around us grew louder, impossible to ignore. "Wait, isn't Lila the one who grew up with Jake? Last parent-teacher conference, Lila's dad even came for Jake. Why's he sticking up for Stella like that? What do you think? Stella's hot. Class beauty and class heartthrob, they're gonna end up together, it's obvious. You forget where she got that class beauty title? Jake and his guy friends voted for her. He even ranked Lila dead last. Honestly, if my childhood friend treated me like that, I'd ghost him. I don't get why Lila puts up with it. Damn, I wish I had a simp like Lila hanging around, no matter how much you push her away. Childhood friend. Meanwhile, Jake was still pressing the issue. I raised my hand and slapped him again. The classroom went dead silent for a beat. From today on, Jake Carter, we're done. Don't ever bother me again. Cold water splashed on my face, chasing away the drowsiness and the tight, angry knot in my chest. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. There was fine, light fuzz along my upper lip, sure, but nothing as noticeable as Jake and Stella had made it out to be. It was just a totally normal thing. I didn't get why they got such a kick out of shaming me for how I looked. Especially Jake. We'd been neighbors since we were 4. We went to the same preschool, elementary school, and middle school. When we were little, we walked to and from school together every day. He'd always hold my hand and make me walk on the inside, away from the street. He'd always grab my backpack too, slinging it over his own shoulder. Sometimes when it was stuffed full, I'd feel bad and try to take it back. He'd just laugh and ruffle my hair. I'm 2 months older, and I'm a guy. It's my job to look out for you, duh. Come on, call me your big brother. Let's hear it. Back then, we shared every snack and every game. We laughed and messed around all day, and even when we fought, we made up 5 minutes later. But once puberty hit, Jake pulled further and further away from me. The biggest reason? His parents yelled at him and punished him constantly because of my good grades. Older Jake hated studying with a passion, but he lived for video games and sports. He'd play basketball in the blazing sun all day long, but he couldn't be bothered to sit down and work on math problems for even an hour. To save time for games, he half-assed most of his homework, and he got yelled at or sent to the front of the class by teachers all the time. I couldn't stand watching it, so I'd secretly do his work for him. Before tests, I'd make him condense study guides to help him bump up his scores fast. But none of it stopped his parents from bringing me up every time they chewed him out or punished him. If you were half as hardworking as Lila Hayes, you wouldn't be dead last every single test. Who are you even trying to impress with these garbage grades? Lila could scribble random answers with her eyes closed and score higher than you, you loser. I could feel Jake resenting me more and more. But to me, he wasn't just the friend I'd grown up with. He was the boy next door who'd always looked out for me. He was the first boy I'd ever had a crush on, the one who'd snuck into my heart when I was just starting to figure out what liking someone meant. I couldn't stand the thought of us drifting apart, of us becoming strangers. So when he snapped at me, I rarely fought back. I tried to see things from his side. Countless times, I'd stop him from heading to the basketball court or the arcade right before exams or when break was ending. I'd tutor him patiently and make sure he finished his homework. When his parents raised their hands at him over report cards, I'd always step in front of him, listing off all his strengths, how good he was at sports, how easy he made friends. I tried to make them see that even if he wasn't great at tests, Jake still had a bright future ahead of him. Eventually, to shrink the gap between us, I even started intentionally getting questions wrong or leaving them blank on tests. On the high school placement exam, even after skipping 2 math fill-ins and a whole physics free response, I scored almost 100 points higher than Jake. I got into Lockwood High, the best school in the city. He only got into Westbrook High, the worst one in the district. One school was on the south side of town, the other on the north. And since Lockwood was a boarding school with barely any breaks, we'd go from seeing each other every day to only hanging out for a little while on Saturdays. I was still feeling hollow about it when my mom told me Jake's parents had pulled strings to get him into Lockwood too. I jumped for joy. Once I calmed down, I ran right over to his house to ask if it was true. But he just stared at me coldly and said, "Where I go to school, and whether I had connections to get in, is none of your business. I get it, you got in on your own merit. Stop rubbing it in, okay?" I stared at him in shock, and before I could say anything, he slammed the door in my face. I texted him a dozen times after that, saying I hadn't been bragging at all, but he never wrote back. That summer, Jake's parents signed him up for an intensive summer boot camp. I went to stay at my grandparents' farm out in the country, studying ahead with textbooks and workbooks my mom ordered online. With my grandma and grandpa feeding me non-stop, I grew a few inches and put on a little weight. A few days before school started, we ran into each other, and Jake immediately stepped back like he was disgusted. "Layla, what happened to you? 2 months and you look like this?" I had no idea what he was talking about. "You're all bulky and gross, and you reek like that sweaty fat guy smell. It's making me nauseous." He pinched his nose as he said it. My face burned. I tried to explain that I'd just been playing badminton, that I hadn't showered or changed yet, that's why I smelled like sweat. But he was already walking away, not looking back. For days after that, I didn't eat a single dinner. And my showers went from 15 minutes max to over an hour. Jake's disgusted face played over and over in my head, making my chest ache. I knew that at 5'7" and 132 pounds, I wasn't fat. I knew I didn't actually smell bad. But I couldn't stop feeling ugly and self-conscious anyway. By some bad luck, Jake and I ended up in the same homeroom. When I walked in, he'd already picked a seat and was laughing and talking with the guys around him. I smiled and waved, about to sit down somewhere close to him without even thinking. But before I could even sit all the way down, Jake shot up, grabbed his bag, and marched to the other side of the room. "Way better air over here. Can't stand places that reek." Everyone could tell he was avoiding me. I could feel all the curious stares on me, and I wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. Later, he tried to explain himself. "We're way too close. I'd just end up talking to you non-stop, and we'd both get behind on schoolwork. And you know how those guys run their mouths. They'll twist anything into something dirty. Better if we keep our distance." I bought it. I had no idea that in just one semester, Jake would do dozens of things without a single thought for how I'd feel. First, I got my period unexpectedly, and blood stained my white uniform khakis. Instead of helping me hide it, he pointed it out to all the guys and laughed, mimicking the way I hunched over from cramps when I walked. Second, after the class group chat was made, he accidentally sent an unflattering photo of me passed out on the couch drooling, in a tank top and shorts. By the time I texted him panicking, it was too late to delete it. He just shrugged it off, like it was no big deal, even when my eyes welled up with tears. "Ah, it was an accident. Everyone laugh and forget about it. Don't be so sensitive, okay?" Third, after mandatory group jog, we got back to class, and I was so hot I rolled my pant legs up a little. Not long after, I got a nickname, Knockoff Kirby. Jake said my calves were short and stubby, no ankles to speak of, exactly like Kirby, the character from that game he played all the time. "Except you're, like, a million times uglier," he'd added. I was so tired of it all. No relationship can survive on just one person compromising and giving all the time. To Jake, I was just some ugly nerd who clung to him no matter what. He didn't care at all how much his words and actions hurt me. Or maybe he wanted me to feel embarrassed and sad, wanted me to be isolated and lose all my confidence. Well, I wasn't gonna let him win anymore. When the last morning class ended, I didn't go to the cafeteria. I headed straight for the school gates. Every Wednesday, my parents came to bring me a proper home-cooked meal. Today they'd made my favorites: barbecue glazed ribs, sautéed pork with green beans, tomato and egg scramble, and garlic sautéed spinach. They'd also packed a big jar of shelled mixed nuts and 2 pounds of slow-cooked beef brisket. Watching me wolf down the food in the car, my parents looked at me with so much softness. "Slow down, there's plenty more. It's only been a few days and you look thinner. Don't you dare go on some silly diet. You're growing and studying hard, you need to eat. If you need more money or anything else, just say the word." Warmth spread through my chest, and I almost cried. People who actually love you only care about your well-being. They want you to eat well, stay warm, and sleep soundly. Halfway through the meal, my mom frowned, confused. Hey, where's Jake today? Usually he tags along. When you go back, you can share some of the nuts and beef with him. I huffed and refused flat out. You put all this work into making this for me. Why should I give him any? He never shares his good food with me. They exchanged a look and immediately got that Jake and I had had a fight. My dad handed me an open bottle of milk and lowered his voice. Jake's parents are getting a divorce. Last month his mom found out his dad has another family on the side, a boy and a girl, just a couple years younger than Jake. I froze. I thought about how harsh and careless Jake's parents had always been with him. And about how tired and torn up he always looked before heading home. My resolve softened again. From how he'd been acting, he probably didn't know about any of it yet. When he found out, he'd be devastated. Maybe if his home life wasn't such a mess, things wouldn't have gotten this bad between us. After school let out for the day, we had an hour and a half of free time. Jake was always on the basketball court without fail, skipping dinner just to play. I hesitated for a minute, then bought a bottle of water and packed up some of the beef brisket to bring to him. When I walked out of the campus snack shop, his group was right ahead of me. But right as I was about to call his name, I heard a conversation that made my blood run cold. Damn, Jake, you and Lila really are done for good, huh? Otherwise she'd be over here bringing you water and food already, and we'd all get to mooch off her. Jake's tone was cold and dismissive. Good riddance. She's always hanging around grinning like an idiot. Annoying as hell. The guy next to him jumped up like he was taking a shot. For real, though, why do you hate her so much? She's smart, she's kinda cute, and she's totally into you. If I had a childhood friend like that, I'd have made her my girlfriend already. Or hell, date Stella and keep Lila on the side. That'd be sweet. The shortest guy chimed in right away. Yeah, sometimes I feel bad for her. You rag on her so bad. But whatever, you're Jake the man, you've got options. Not like the rest of us. Hey, since you guys are done anyway, you mind if I shoot my shot with her? Jake paused for half a step, then scoffed. Didn't take you for someone with low standards. Go ahead, if you don't mind that some creepy old perv kissed her before. His friends perked up immediately. Wait, what? When did that happen? Spill. Lila seems so quiet, but she's wild? Never would have guessed. Oh, I love girls with a secret wild side. That's hot. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I'd throw up. The bag in my hand fell to the ground. It happened on a weekend in 8th grade. My parents were both working overtime. After dance class, I was walking home alone when a drunk guy grabbed me and dragged me into a back alley. If I hadn't screamed and fought as hard as I could, and if a couple hadn't been walking by right then, I don't even want to think about what would have happened. After that, I wouldn't leave my room for 2 weeks. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just cried all the time. Even now, I haven't fully gotten past it. I still have nightmares about it all the time, wake up drenched in cold sweat. He knew how badly that had broken me. And he still made up garbage rumors about me, said those awful things to his stupid friends just for a laugh. We'd known each other for almost 12 years. What had I ever done to deserve this? Jake Carter. At the sound of my voice, thick with tears, he turned slowly. The smile dropped off his face instantly, replaced by panic. Lila? What are you doing here? Less than an hour later, my parents showed up at school to take me home. I was numb, like I wasn't even in my own body. I'd slapped Jake 2 more times by then. He stood in front of our car, his right cheek still swollen, trying to stop us. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, I didn't mean to hurt Lila, I just... I'd cried and told my parents everything that had been going on, and they were furious. My mom cut him off, face tight with anger. "Save it. We clearly misjudged you. We thought you were a decent, respectful kid. Ask yourself, what has Lila ever done to you, that you have to treat her this way? Let me give you some advice, don't take your own failures out on other people. It'll get you nowhere in life." My dad's jaw was tight. He hit the gas and sped away, leaving Jake standing there still trying to explain himself. I leaned against my mom's shoulder, eyes closed. There was only one thought in my head, get as far away from Jake Carter as possible. A week before that, my mom had told me she'd gotten a promotion to headquarters, out in the state capital. My dad was fully supportive, and he'd already made plans to open his own dental practice out there too. They'd bought a house there years ago, already furnished. Moving would be easy. Which meant I'd be leaving Lockwood, going to a new school. I'd been agonizing over how to tell Jake. And how we'd stay close when we'd be hundreds of miles apart, barely seeing each other. I'd lost sleep over it for nights, even cried about it twice when no one was looking. Well, I didn't have to worry about that anymore. Late that night, lying in my soft, warm bed at home, I opened my phone and saw dozens of messages from Jake. "Lila, I didn't mean what I said this afternoon. You have to believe me. I just wasn't thinking, it all came out before I could stop it. I regretted it right away, wanted to punch myself. You slapped me, you yelled at me, so can you just stop being upset already? Come on, I'll take you to the movies this weekend. My treat, tickets and snacks." Yeah? Before, an apology like this would have been enough. I would have forgiven him already. But now? I felt nothing. I guess when you've had enough disappointment, letting go happens in a single second. Just wasn't thinking? What about the dozen times before that? All of those accidents too? How many times have I told you I hate being teased, hate those stupid nicknames? Did you ever listen? If I hadn't called you out today, you would have kept making up those gross rumors about me, right? Insulting me with those guys, did that make you feel cool? Jake Carter, you make me sick. I typed it all out, finger hovering over send. Then I changed my mind and deleted every word. What was the point? He knew exactly what he was doing. He chose to do it anyway. That was his choice. And now it was time for mine. I blocked Jake on everything, tucked myself in, and fell asleep hard. I didn't wake up until past 8 the next morning, feeling lighter than I had in ages. My parents had called me out sick for the day. We'd been packing for a while, and most of the house was done. Only my closet and bookshelf were left. Tomorrow morning, after I finished my transfer paperwork at school, we'd hit the road for our new home. Sorting through my stack of books, I found the diary I'd gotten when I first started 8th grade. Back then, my feelings for Jake had started to change. I'd see him during the day and dream about him at night. Every night before bed, I'd sit at my desk and write, and somehow every entry ended up being about him. I could write a whole 1,000-word essay just about watching him play basketball. Reading it now, every line was silly and childish, but so earnest. Too bad he wasn't as great as I'd made him out to be. My crush had put rose-colored glasses on me. From infatuation to disillusionment, guess that's just something a lot of girls go through. I smiled, feeling free, and tossed the diary into the recycling box. Mom made homemade fruit compote, and brought a bowl to me and to Dad, who was mopping the floor. "Your dad got you enrolled at a school already. It's not far from our new neighborhood, it's even better than Lockwood High. And it's not a boarding school, you can come home every night for dinner and sleep in your own bed." Yes. Thank you, Mom and Dad. The three of us ate and laughed, but we could faintly hear yelling and the sound of dishes shattering from the house across the street. It had been that way for over 10 years. Early the next morning, we went to Lockwood High to finish the paperwork. By the time we were done, it was morning break. All the students were out on the field, jogging in lines and yelling chants. I decided to run back to the classroom to grab my things, and told my parents to go ahead to the dorm and pack up my bed. I didn't expect to see Jake, PE captain, supposed to be leading the jog, slumped at his desk. Just my luck. I couldn't even leave without running into him. He looked up lazily when he heard someone come in, but when he saw it was me, he shot to his feet, stumbling over his words. Lila, you feeling better? I thought you wouldn't come back to class this week. And why'd you block me on Instagram and Snapchat? I can't even call you. I borrowed Tyler Brooks's phone to text you, but the dorm supervisor walked in and confiscated it. Dude won't even talk to me now. I had to buy him, like, $100 worth of snacks to make it up to him. He rambled on, but I didn't say a word. I just stuffed my books into my bag. When he noticed what I was doing, Jake looked confused. What are you doing? You're not switching classes just to avoid me, are you? Don't do that. I swear I'll stop being a jerk, okay? I mean it. Come on, Lila, we grew up together. You know I'm not a bad guy. I get jealous, I guess. You're good at everything, school, dance, chess, you win every competition. Your family's perfect. And I just get yelled at and punished every single day. And every time I mess up with you, I feel like crap afterwards. Especially when you were crying the other day. For real, you've always been better to me than anyone. Let's just go back to how things were when we were kids, yeah? I cut him off before he could keep going. Jake, where are those notebooks I gave you? The ones with the blue book covers. He blinked. In my desk. Why? I nodded and walked over to dig through it. Inside his messy desk, my 6 English and math notebooks were buried at the bottom, untouched. Not a single page had been opened. All that work I put into them, all summer long, total waste. Well, not total. Some people will never amount to anything no matter what you do. But at least making those notes helped me review everything from 8th grade to junior year. I stood up, tucked the notebooks under my arm, and walked toward the door. Jake looked more and more panicked. Lila, where are you going? He blocked my path again. You're not leaving until you tell me what's going on. I looked at him, calm and cold. You're right. I'm not staying here. But not just switching classes, transferring schools. From now on, you don't have to live in my shadow anymore. And I don't have to put up with your crap. While he stood there stunned, I stepped around him and walked out. By the time I got downstairs, the jog was over. Students were streaming back to the classrooms in groups. I was about to hurry to find my parents when I heard Jake's voice behind me. Lila, wait. The next second, he grabbed my arm and yelled. Why are you transferring? Is this still about what I said? But I apologized. You always let this stuff go before. Why are you making such a big deal out of it now? A bunch of students stopped to stare, curious about the fight. The ones who knew what was going on whispered to each other. A wave of disgust washed over me. I stomped hard on his foot, and when he flinched in pain, I wrenched my arm free. Jake, I said it clear enough. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. And where I go to school is none of your damn business. You say sorry and I'm just supposed to forgive you? Newsflash, I'm done putting up with an idiot like you who doesn't know the first thing about respect or appreciation. What do you have to be bitter about? I get good grades, I win awards, because I work 10 times harder than you. You have zero plans for your life, you just coast by and cut corners. What right do you have to blame me? Is it my fault your family's always fighting? You just picked me because you thought I'd be an easy target, someone who'd never fight back. So you took all your anger out on me for fun. Get lost. Saying all that lifted a weight off my chest. I didn't look back at Jake, who stood there with his mouth hanging open. I just kept walking toward the dorm building. Geez, Jake, is Lila insane? Saying all that in front of everyone? She's just trying to make you look bad. It was Stella, her voice all sweet and fake. She'd watched the whole show, and now she was putting on her innocent, caring act again. Mind your own business. Leave me alone. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Jake shove her away and storm back up the stairs. Stella stood there stunned, then her lip trembled like she was about to cry again. Yikes. Those two were something else. That weekend, Mom, Dad, and I settled into our new house, making it clean and cozy. In our free time, we visited a few local attractions. That rare stretch of calm was followed by the busiest period of my life. We'd all been ready for it. After all, moving up in life never comes easy. Mom was busy adjusting to her new management role, and Dad was busy scouting locations, renovating, and negotiating partnerships for his clinic. As for me? At Lockwood High, I'd been a top student. I barely had to try to land near the top of the class. But at Willowdale Preparatory Academy, where everyone was brilliant and the atmosphere was hyper-competitive, my old knowledge didn't cut it. On my first monthly assessment test, I ranked in the lower middle of the grade. My math score wasn't even close to passing. It was a totally new feeling for me. After a brief moment of panic, I got more motivated to study than I'd ever been. After all, I still had over 2 years until the SAT. There was plenty of time. Every day at 6 a.m., my internal clock woke me up. Morning reading and a morning run, no exceptions. In class, I was fully focused, asked questions constantly, and never stopped taking notes. My free time was packed too: practice problems, memorization, online lectures, going over my error log. By 11 at night, I'd fall into bed. With nothing weighing on my mind, I fell asleep the second my head hit the pillow. I kept up that relentless pace for over a year. I climbed from the lower middle to the upper middle, then settled firmly in the top 10. On my best days, I got second place twice and first once. My parents were proud, if a little worried about how hard I pushed myself. All my teachers loved me, too. They said I was smart and incredibly disciplined. One night first semester senior year, I finished a physics practice test and was grading it when Jake popped into my head out of nowhere. In 2 years, I'd only gone back to Lockwood once, to the house I'd grown up in, and I hadn't stayed long. I'd gotten a new phone number and made new Instagram and Snapchat accounts. I hadn't heard a single thing about him. But it didn't matter. He had nothing to do with my life anymore. He crossed my mind for half a second, then a wrong answer on my test pulled my focus right back. Way more satisfying to nail a physics problem than try to figure out some guy's messed up feelings. Before I knew it, it was time for the SAT. My whole family rallied around me that week. Grandma and Grandpa made me 3 nutritious, delicious meals a day. Mom and Dad drove me to and from the testing center. All I had to do was put everything I'd learned over the years down on the page, clearly and efficiently. When the last test ended, I walked out of the building feeling confident. My parents were already waiting for me, holding a huge bouquet of flowers. Grandma and Grandpa had been simmering meat and soup since noon, waiting for us to come home for cake and celebration. To help me unwind, we all decided on a 5-day beach trip. We'd pack after dinner and leave first thing tomorrow. By coincidence, I ran into an old classmate in the bathroom at the regional bus terminal, Vivian Reed, our class president back at Lockwood High. Like me, she was taking a post-SAT trip to unwind. I was heading south to the ocean, she was heading north to go hiking. She'd always been upbeat and outgoing. She grinned and pulled me into a hug the second she saw me. Lila Hayes, where'd you end up? I texted you so many times and never heard back. You never post anything on Snapchat stories or Instagram either. So mysterious. And wow, you're so thin now. Tall and slim, you look so much prettier than before. I almost didn't recognize you just now. I told her a little about my new school, but she didn't listen long before she switched to gossiping about Jake. "Hey, have you guys talked at all? You have no idea how much he changed after you left. He'd just sit in the back of class all day moping, not even playing basketball anymore. You left an English essay book behind." The student on cleanup duty was gonna throw it away, and he jumped out of his seat and grabbed it, stuffed it in his bag. "I don't get him. He was so mean to you when you were here, and then you leave and he's all miserable." Not long after that, his family fell apart. His parents got divorced. His dad came to school to talk to him once, and Jake was yelling so loud. Said he didn't want to live with either of them. Almost got into a fight with his dad. Then he dropped out halfway through junior year. No one knows what he's up to now. Vivian rambled on, dumping all that information on me whether I wanted it or not. Thankfully, Mom came over to tell me it was time to board, and she finally stopped talking, even though she clearly had more to say. Before she left, she added my new Instagram and Snapchat. "Don't worry, I barely talk to Jake anymore. I won't give him your info, promise." I smiled wryly and forgot all about it soon after. When SAT scores came out, I scored 20 points higher than I'd expected. I got into Harbor University School of Medicine, my dream school. My whole family celebrated all over again. The day my acceptance letter arrived, I posted a photo to my Snapchat stories. I was standing by the window, grinning and holding the letter, with a stack of workbooks, notes, and error logs next to me as tall as I was. Not long after I posted, a random account viewed my story, liked it, then unliked it right away. But I recognized it. It was Jake. I thought about it for a second, then blocked him again, and set all my social media to friends only. I didn't like the feeling of someone watching me from the shadows, no matter what their intentions were. At Harbor University, my course load was almost as heavy as it had been in high school. But I still made time for the dance team and the debate club. I wanted to be well-rounded. At a debate tournament, I led my team to first place, and met my first boyfriend, Ethan Walker, a mechanical engineering major. He was exactly my type, face and body. Smart, with a cool exterior but a warm, sweet side underneath. With me, though, he was all warmth, total clingy golden retriever energy. We'd been dating for over a year, and things just kept getting better. Our plans for the future were as clear as the lines of his abs. As summer break got closer, he said he wanted to visit the town I'd grown up in. I thought about it for a minute and said yes. Lockwood was a pretty tourist town, and even though I'd grown up there, there were tons of spots I'd never visited. Our first day there, we hit 4 attractions back to back. Our step count was almost 30,000. We were laughing and messing around as we walked back to the hotel, when someone handed us a flyer. "Hey, guys, swim and gym memberships, check it out." Ethan took the flyer like he always did and said thanks. When the guy kept following us to pitch more, I politely turned him down. "No thanks, we're just visiting." Right after I spoke, I saw the guy flinch. I looked up, and it was Jake. He didn't look all that different, still tall and broad-shouldered, but he seemed tired. He clearly recognized me too. His eyes fell on Ethan's hand in mine. His mouth moved like he was gonna say something, but nothing came out. He turned and walked away fast, like he was running away. "Lila, do you know that guy?" My ever-perceptive Ethan asked, tilting his head in confusion. I smiled and shook my head. "Never seen him before." "Come on, let's head back and rest. Tomorrow, there's a whole city of beautiful things waiting for us."